Another weekend of anti-cop anarchy in Atlanta. In what police call a coordinated attack, this violence resulting in domestic terrorism charges. Police pelted with fireworks, bricks, and even Molotov cocktails as rioters dressed in black launched an all-out assault on what they call Cop City. That's a proposed $90 million training facility for law enforcement. It has been repeatedly attacked by anti-police and environmental agitators in the past year. Some of them were even living in the woods. The clash resulting in violence and flames. Protesters setting construction equipment ablaze. At least 35 people have been arrested, 23 of them charged with domestic terrorism. And get this, authorities say many are from out of town. The police chief making it clear that these attacks will not be tolerated.
Moved toward the training center site, armed with fireworks, rocks, Molotov cocktails, and other device, and launched a coordinated criminal attack against officers. Actions such as this will not be tolerated. When you attack law enforcement officers, when you damage equipment, you are breaking the law. Criminal activity will not be tolerated in Atlanta, nor tolerated in connection with this project.
But the anarchy may not be over. Georgia's Attorney General with this warning on America's Newsroom. Great show.
There are some individuals, as I'm told, that went back into the forest last night, and there may be an operation going on right now. We will hold everybody accountable that is engaged in violent activity. Protesters use words, rioters use violence. And again, in Georgia, you can be charged with domestic terrorism for engaging in this type of behavior.
Let's go to the legal side of things, or for whatever else you want to comment on this story, Judge.
Well, first of all, I saw the interview on America's Newsroom, which is a great show.
Amazing.
It's really fantastic. And I love the fact that that individual is like very clear. This is Georgia. You know, we're in a place where we respect the law, and you can't come here, especially everyone but two people are from Georgia. Yeah. They're not only not from the state, they're from out of the country, some of them from Canada, from France. Who are these people who believe in anarchy, who want to destroy this cop training center? I mean, when you first of all, look at all of them, okay? A lot of them are young. One of them apparently is a lawyer. And the amazing part of it is, like, you don't even know what their beef is other than they hate cops. After George Floyd, we decided we were going to retrain cops. This is a training center. This is exactly for that purpose, to retrain cops. And in the end, what they're doing is they're destroying the training center. And by the way, I'm tired of hearing about spontaneous protests. These are not spontaneous. This is so planned to have people from out of the state, out of the country. And these are people who distrust the institutions. Everybody there is a victim, and they believe in anarchy, and they want to take down our country, and they're starting with this law enforcement. And in the end, what we've got to do is make it real clear. You don't go to places like this, and if you attack a law enforcement officer, it's usually up one level in terms of felonies, and I hope they hold to it. I hope they don't plea bargain these cases. I hope they take them to the mat.
Jessica, where's Stacey Abrams today? This is like a perfect issue for her.
It is a good issue for her.
Silent.
Well, but the problem would be, what side are you going to be on this, right? So after Biden caught all that flack last week for, quote, changing his mind, and even though he never said he was going to veto the bill, but basically coming down on the side of normalcy and order in terms of the D.C. crime bill, same side as the mayor of D.C. as well, it's not the best environment for people to come out and be anti-law enforcement necessarily. That kind of seems like a phase that we've passed, which I think is a good thing. I think comments from people like the New York City mayor talking about, what was the line, public safety is a prerequisite for prosperity. That's something that mayors, big city mayors all over the country are thinking about. Keisha Lance Bottoms, who was the mayor of Atlanta, certainly was as well. I totally agree with the judge. Is the fact that it's 23 of 25 or 21 of 23 who are from elsewhere just seems completely absurd. And the police chief was very clear. If this had been peaceful protest, it would have gone on. This is obviously not peaceful. And the juxtaposition, when we're hearing about this story, and you have Biden in Selma for the anniversary of Bloody Sunday, and you think about what real civil rights challenges were in this country, and the people traveled for that. You want to travel for that? That makes sense to me. If you want to travel to protest the Vietnam War, you travel for that. But you're traveling, what, because a few people got thrown out of a forest?
Yep. You mentioned Eric Adams. This is the mayor of New York City. We have one call for we shall listen to.
I think it's a warning sign for the country. Public safety is a prerequisite to prosperity. Same in Chicago, like New York, and many of our big cities across America. We are focused on public safety because people want to be safe. They don't feel safe and they're actually safe, then you're going to lose control of your city.
And the other thing that's galling, I imagine, to the people of Georgia, or even like right there in Atlanta, is that they're the taxpayers that are paying for the police facility. And now people from out of town and even out of the country are coming and firebombing it.
Well, the left loves Antifa. They've romanticized Antifa for years now because at heart, every left-winger is a revolutionary. They always admired their parents or maybe the parents themselves when they were out protesting NOM or making their dumb placards. That's what they dream of doing, to be able to be this free-spirited and to not care about the consequences and to do things that in their hearts they know they believe, because the far left does hate the police. And so they're honored by these people, but it's hard for them to talk about because it's so awkward. So they don't talk about it. The Binder came out today and said the president had never heard of this. No statements from either Democrat senator in Georgia about this. It's like it doesn't exist because it hurts the narrative. Remember, these people were against MAGA. So it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friends with benefits, because this is really more romantic than we realize. I mean, these people, it's like a girl that's crazy that might steal your car and burn your house down but makes your toes curl. This is the type of relationship the left has with these people. And even the New York Times came out today, it was spinning that this was about an environmental protest, like they were going to save the trees. I didn't know Antifa was for the environment. They weren't in East Palestine. They're not at the Jersey Shore when the whales wash up. So that was news to me. This is always about these hardcore people that are against the police. And like the judge said, this is a facility where they train to negotiate hostage situations, where they train in getaway cars, where they do mass shooting drills. So they had to kill some trees to do this. Okay. Do you want a few trees dead, or do you want everybody in Atlanta dead from a mass shooter?
Also, do you know how many trees are in Georgia? There's a lot.
Seriously. And the feds all of a sudden are like, okay, well, this is a loosely organized group. Well, how loose is it if it's from France, and Canada, every state in the union, that they come in and do this? And the mugshots, it was like the faces of meth. Do you ever see where they do the meth posters?
Yeah. I was going to bring that up because apparently one of the things these Antifa people hate, Greg, is when their pictures are shown everywhere. So let's put them up so that everybody can see them.
Yeah, well, I got to say, generally, this would be the opportunity for me to mock their looks. Oh. But you know what? True, there are some very homely people in here. But there's a few handsome guys in here. I will say that. The women look miserable. So I'm going to go back. I don't want to make this a bigger story than it is. I think that we're looking at a fringe group that has been poisoned by the media. Their brains have been poisoned. Maybe in 10 years or 15 years, 5%, 10% of this group may come out of it and look back in shame. Or you might just have another Weather Underground guy who thinks it was really great. But you look at this, but it just makes me wonder, when you think about the fact that they and the police are clashing over a training facility, how absurd this has become, this kind of battle, and that the fact that, like, listening to Jessica, if it weren't Jessica, if it was Harold, if it was Geraldo, we're all in agreement. So we talked about this 2 weeks ago or a week ago. Why, if everybody's in agreement, why is this still happening? When this is, and you can say that about 7 or 8 different kind of news stories. Why is this still happening? Why is there a Canadian teacher with giant boobs allowed to teach? Like, why are these stories still going on? And I really think it's to keep us busy. That's what I think. I think, like, in a weird way, you know, if we're at each other's throats, we won't be at theirs, which means the people that are in charge. So the fact that this stuff can keep getting worse is only because we're staying out of trouble in other ways, right? This is it's like a weird sideshow going on that keeps the power in power. Think about this. Like, if we didn't have this phone when we're walking down, like you're walking down the Lower East Side with this phone, this is the most technological advanced product in the history of the world, probably, and you're stepping over half-dead zombies as you're holding this. So there's this incredible competence here, but then everything around you on that street is total incompetence. You've got homelessness, drug addiction, and crime. So you have this weird clash, and it's like the reason why we have to be distracted is so we don't stop and say, this means you got to go. Like, there's so much incompetence in this world, and we're too distracted. This is just a game. This is like, it's like, ooh, Antifa here and Proud Boys there. Ooh, like that's basically keeps us busy.
Well, it's easy to knock this off because you just arrest these people.
Yeah.
Just based on looks or track record.
But we don't. We
arrest them, right.
But then the question is there cashless bail in Georgia?
Yeah.
I don't know what the standard is in Georgia. I suspect it's cashless bail. But none of them have roots in the community, which used to be the test for keeping someone in jail. So we'll see.
It's interesting because then you're more likely to stick around.
Yeah, if you have roots in the community, you have a job, you have a family, you have a house, you're more likely to stick around.
And that's why you go to other places because you don't mind burning down.
Do you want to go to France with me and protest and riot?
Yeah.
We're on TV.
Wow, I'm gonna have a blast.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.